Perfect.
So first thing is I want to thank both, of course, the Aave team, Chainlink, and the blockchain community for joining us today. In addition, I want to especially thank Emilio and Andrey for joining us, Johann as well, on the call and kind of taking the time in everybody's busy schedules to make this happen. The community really appreciates these. And so, again, thank you very much for doing that. The overall goal for this Q&A is really to allow the community just to learn more about the integration between Aave and Chainlink, exploring kind of what makes this integration unique and beneficial for both the teams and even the users of each product. So the brief kind of agenda for the first 20 to 25 minutes, we're going to have kind of a Q&A fireside chat structure. I'll be asking questions, allowing both the Aave team and Johann to respond. And then we're going to leave about 10 to 15 minutes for kind of the community questions, which they've sort of been asking on the Pigeonhole app. We'll be sharing those links as well on the live stream. If for some reason your questions, community, don't get answered, by all means, reach out via Reddit, reach out via Telegram. I'll have all those links provided for you, and we'll do our best to answer that question if for some reason that we do miss it. So kind of that being said, we'll start with sort of some brief introductions. So with the Emilio and Andrey, if you wouldn't mind just kind of maybe sharing a little bit about what you do for Aave and maybe just sort of a brief background about maybe kind of how you got involved in sort of crypto and what you guys are doing currently.
Absolutely. So first of all, like I was saying before, thank you very much, Rory, for having us today. Thanks, Johann, for being here. It was really a pleasure to work with Johann and the whole Chainlink team. And we are really, really satisfied of how the integration is going and how the whole process of working with, collaborate with you guys went like from the beginning. So what is Aave, what we are building, and how we kind of we brought this to life. Aave is basically a company that was previously called Ethereum. We kicked off the company with an ICO in 2017. It's funny because we are kind of are the kicked off the whole DeFi space in some way, because Ethereum was live like in early 2017. And it was the first platform in which people was allowed to lend and borrow in a decentralized way. It was kind of different compared to what we built right now. It was peer-to-peer. So basically, back in the days, there was the possibility for people to create a loan request with a certain collateral, and that loan request would be matched with an offer from a lender. And so there was kind of this peer-to-peer relationship between the borrower and the lender. Was kind of for us, it's always kind of interesting to look back to those days, because 2017 there was no DAI, there were no stable coins. The only stable coins was USDT, and it was on the Omni blockchain. Right now, most of the USDT has migrated to the Ethereum blockchain. And on our platform, people was using one functionality that we built back in the days. It was called ETH pegging. So basically, people was actually borrowing ETH, and the amount of ETH was pegged to USD. So whenever the borrower would repay the loan, he would repay an equivalent amount of ETH of the amount of USD that he borrowed. So there were no stable coins, so the only way to allow people to borrow a stable amount of USD was to actually peg the price of the loan to the value of ETH. After that, of course, the kind of in 2018, the whole DeFi space exploded in some way. And at the root of the DeFi, there is like DAI, that is the decentralized stablecoin, and it also the whole space grew with the concept of money markets, which is what we actually built right now. So what Aave is like a platform where users can go and deposit their assets. So there they can deposit the stable coins, they can deposit their ERC20, like Link, for example, or like DAI. And what they are allowed to do is that they can borrow against those assets at the same time. taking these assets from a kind of reserve where all the liquidity goes, basically. So the liquidity is always available instantaneously to be borrowed out, and people who provides liquidity earns a kind of passive income from the interest that is paid from the lenders, right? What we brought in DeFi that was not there before is like, we have a lot of new functionalities. We were discussing a lot with Johann and the Chainlink team that other platforms don't have, that hopefully when they will go like full force will give us a real competitive advantage compared to the competition. One that is the kind of the most like talked about like functionality is it's called flash loans. So one of the things that we thought when we were building this functionality is that one of the things that would be cool to have is that giving the possibility to people to reuse the collateral. You know, reuse the collateral is one of the hardest things that you can do, basically, because the collateral is illiquid by definition. You know, you cannot move a collateral outside of the system, otherwise the whole system becomes under collateralized and it kind of loses its purpose, right? But what we actually thought is that we could allow, for example, leveraging the composability of the DeFi and the Ethereum blockchain. What we allow to do is for developers is that developers can actually access the liquidity on our platform as long and use the liquidity in whatever way they want within the context of one transaction, with the condition that at the end of the transaction the same liquidity plus a fee is returned, otherwise the transaction gets reverted. What this means is that we allow people to build on top of our protocol tools that mostly target high frequency trading, for example, arbitrage, liquidation bots, or even like functionalities like savers. For example, you can write a functionality that allows allows people to save their CDPs, for example, when they are about to get liquidated. You know, you can take the liquidity out of our protocol, close your position, take the collateral, sell it, and repay the difference to the pool, and save yourself for example 13%. That is the liquidation penalty that you pay on compound on maker, right? I mean, there are a lot of different possibilities that this tool opens up for developers. And what it brings to the protocol is that by using the flash loan, the fee that gets paid by the users of the flash loan gets redistributed to the depositors. So actually the depositor earn not only from the borrowers borrowing in an over collateralized fashion from the protocol, but also from the flash loan, which is a different source of income that is 100% safe and is 100% under collateralized, but kind of allows the collateral and the funds to be reused in a different way. It's something that no other platform has. Another cool thing that we introduced is for people who is familiar with Compound and with like the DSR, CHAI, and tokenization models of the deposits. Compound has like a tokenization model of the deposit. So whenever someone deposits DAI, for example, in Compound, he gets in exchange derivative token that is called C token or C DAI in the case of DAI, right? And this C token is a representation of the amount that has been deposited by the user plus the accrued interest, you know? So the way it works is that each CDAI has an exchange rate compared to the underlying asset. And this exchange rate grows all the time. So CDAI accrues value, and thus it becomes like it accrues value compared to DAI. So that when you go to redeem your CDAI for DAI, you get more DAI in the end, okay? Which are the interest that the user is accruing. What we actually implemented is a tokenization model that is different than this one. What it allows us to do is that when a user goes on our platform and deposits DAI, in the same fashion as Compound, for example, or other platforms, he gets derivative tokens that we call ADAI. The biggest difference between ADAI and CDAI is that ADAI is not accumulating the interest in an exchange rate, but is actually growing in balance. So when you deposit 1,000 DAI, you get 1,000 ADAI, right? And as time passes, you will get 100.1, 100.2, 100.3. It's like the interest that is increasing all the time. It translates in an increase in balance of ADAI.
And
so
you can simply look on MetaMask, for example, and you change it. You don't need to go to any complex platform to do that.
Yeah, and what this allows to do might seem really simple. People at the beginning might think like, what is the big deal on that? Actually, it's really interesting because having a tokenization model built this way allows basically people to reuse the ADAI. Since one ADAI is always worth one DAI, you can potentially exchange one DAI for one ADAI. So you can actually create, is it possible? Actually, we are already having our initial integrations of ADAI in different platforms. You can actually always exchange one DAI with one ADAI, which means, for example, if I need to pay someone, let's say 3 DAI, I can pay him with 3 ADAI as well. With CDAI, this is something that doesn't, it's not so easy. I mean, you can do that, but it's not
exchange
so easy.
Rate is changing all the time, and you cannot pay exact amount. You pay a bit less or a bit more.
Exactly. Since the interest rate and the exchange rate are increasing all the time, right? When you're trying to pay with CDAI, the moment that you are paying, you are already not paying the exact amount that you decided to pay, but you are paying more because, like, even in during the time that the transaction is mining, your exchange rate is increasing. So compared to the underlying asset, you are actually paying more than what you agreed before. With ADAI, this doesn't happen. So if I agree to pay you 3 DAI, when the transaction is mined, I will have paid 3 DAI to you, and the interest accrued will remain in my wallet, which is a huge difference. It might seem very simple, but it's a huge difference. I mean, also there are other functionalities I will not go, otherwise I will never finish the talking, but there are like, we introduced a different interest rate model compared to other platforms, which we call stable rate. We introduce rate switching between variable interest rate and stable interest rate for borrowers. We support, also thanks to the support to the integration with Chainlink, 16 different currencies, including SUSD, SNX, a link, and USDC, USDT, many different stable coins. And yeah, until now it's going really well. We have been live not even 1 week. We have already 2.5 million deposited in our platform of total value. There are like 500, 600K borrowed in total. Everything went really well, and we are really happy.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, congratulations. I know it's you guys are doing a lot of new and interesting things, and it's kind of nice when they all work the way that they're supposed to. Yeah. Perfect. So that being said, for those that aren't familiar, obviously Johann's on here quite frequently, but Johann, would you mind just a quick little update on kind of who you are and what you do for Chainlink, and maybe what your relationship is on this sort of integrations?
Yeah, sure. First, thank you for organizing all of this. Thank you for the Aave team for being here. I know you guys are probably super busy with your platform live. And huge congrats also. Like it's been amazing seeing the progress in a week from 0 liquidity to 2.5 million. And I was just telling you guys on the last call, every day I wake up, I go to check the liquidity because it's improving so much. It's actually funny looking, you know.
The same, actually much even during the night sometimes, like
okay. Then, yeah, so it's really amazing. So huge congrats for this one. It's great. Okay, so on my side, yeah, I started at Chainlink about 8 months ago now. Previously, I was in blockchain for around 2 years working there, and I was interested a bit before also about blockchain and the kind of opportunities there. So at Chainlink, what we do is basically we go from the premise that the the real value of blockchain technology comes when you can access data in a reliable and secure way without having to kind of spin up your own platform, your own protocol, your own network from scratch, right? Because that's a huge amount of work. It's like saying, I want to create a DApp, so I'm going to create a new blockchain smart contract platform to host my DApp. And then I need oracles, so I'm going to create a new Oracle network. And if everyone did this stuff, their way and created all of this, first, we would have no standard, and we would also have no space because everyone would be working on creating smart contract platforms and Oracle networks, right? So yeah, our premise is really, we build Oracle networks. We have a team of 30 people working on this for more than 3 years now, and we make sure that people can use them in an easy way. It's transparent, it's secure, and it helps to scale the space. And right now, what we've been doing for many months now is helping. I like to give this comparison with the DeFi space. Crypto has been like a desert for some time where you were just walking and wondering when something was going to happen that people could use, like not only think about the future, but also build it and start using it right now. And DeFi is really something that gives hope for a lot of people and for myself too. Like it's like you found an oasis in this desert. You found something that people can use, that people are building on, and that's really kind of sprawling. We see new DeFi dApps coming every day. So we've been trying to support really this extension, and being able to work with teams like Aave is really, it's the example of what we want to do, right? We want to see new projects like this succeed and see how we can help them by building reliable oracles, basically. Yeah, that's the idea.
All right, thank you very much, Johann. That being said, we can kind of go back, to the Aave team. So why was it important for you to pursue this kind of Oracle, decentralized Oracle network integration? What does it mean for you guys?
Okay, here, we have talked about this a lot with Johann, actually. Here, the decision was, to be honest, not so easy at the beginning, in the sense that when we bootstrapped the idea of having our protocol, the initial idea was to have our home kind of homemade Oracle, solution. Because it's, to be honest, it looked simple at the beginning, right? Oh, what do you need to do for an Oracle? Just fetch a few prices and that's it, right? But the more we started investigating this concept, the more we realized that it's not that simple. We already built something in-house for Ethereum back in the days, but the requirements of a platform like Ethereum are completely different of what a platform like Aave, like the current one, needs. And the reason is that the model is completely different. Potentially, a model like in Ethereum, kind of the peer-to-peer relationship between a borrower and lender made everything easier. Was way harder to kind of screw up the entire protocol.
Yeah, and that was their own responsibility to update the price and check is it everything fine or not. But when we're talking about our protocol, we should care about all of our users, and if one price will be not updated, like protocol will lose money, and our depositors as well, and that's very bad.
Yeah, and also the thing is that in a product like Aave, there could be potentially, right now there are 2.5 million. At the end of the year, we aim to have 100 million. So the amount of liquidity available in this kind of protocol gives a completely different meaning to the importance of oracles in this solution. So when we started investigating, like, what should we do? How should we build the Oracle? A lot of questions arise. I will not go too much in detail because, of course, you are the kind of the the OGs of the decentralized Oracle solution. So I don't need to teach you anything, of course. But just for our audience, a lot of different point of frictions are involved in building an Oracle solution. Price discovery, securing oracles, providing mechanism to like avoid malicious behavior of the entities who provide oracles, allow price discovery to your users, like easy what is needed to do, like for users, they need to be able at any time to see and monitor what are the prices injected into the protocol, sorry, into the oracle, and also more importantly guarantee the safety of the protocol by guaranteeing that the correct collateralization ratios and liquidations are present at any time, like during the whole lifetime of the protocol. So when we started investigating more like in depth these kind of issues, we realized that one of the reasons is that we simply don't have the bandwidth in terms of workforce to do that on our side right now, and that is one of the reasons. So we would have probably needed to sacrifice like effort on the actual product to build an oracle solution that actually at the end of the day wouldn't have needed to be maintained, updated and secured progressively as the protocol grows. That was one of the first. Then another reason was how do we secure these oracles? How we guarantee that the actors involved in submitting the prices are acting correctly and not trying to maliciously like compromise the health of the protocol. This is another big problem. At the beginning, we thought about staking, slashing of the stakes, but also it's very complex. How do you decide how big the stake needs to be? How do you decide how to slash the stake if someone is behaving maliciously? How do you actually decide if someone is behaving maliciously, or is an issue, for example, price discovery, or there is an issue somewhere else? So at the end of the day, we decided, okay, what can we do to simplify our life? And the best thing we could think of was like, let's contact Chainlink and see what we can, what we can came up about. And the end result was quite good, to be honest.
Yeah, but the main point that the market is changing so fast and we should be competitive. And when we spending the time on the products which we not really need to spend, it's very bad because we cannot deliver in time the good product. But with the Chainlink, it's completely amazing.
Yeah, and also the another thing is like, for a protocol like ours, it's really important that the oracle is as decentralized as possible. Because if you have a decentralized protocol, but you have a centralized oracle, then you have a centralized protocol. It's that simple. If you can manipulate the prices that are submitted in the oracle, then you can manipulate your protocol. So your protocol is centralized. There is no objection about that. So yeah, I mean, we took a sheet of paper, put the pros and the cons, and the pros were way more than the cons. So we went for the Chainlink collaboration.
Actually, I don't remember cons.
Yeah, maybe there were no. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for sharing kind of your thought process. I know our community especially is very interested in why you choose to go with one solution over the other. So thank you for providing such a detailed explanation. Johann, kind of throwing it back into your corner, why does it make sense for Chainlink to work with someone like Aave?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like this goes back to what I was saying about being able to provide developer tools, for people to easily use. An oracle is a developer tool in the end, and basically, the network, the way it works is we have node operators, we have users, and we have data providers, right? And in order for the whole network to work, well, you need users to query these node operators and to use the data that node operators provide, right? So any user who kind of goes into the Chainlink ecosystem, the Chainlink network, participates in this economy of providing tokens basically to node operators, who then are able to kind of sustain and continue running infrastructure for Chainlink, right? Because it's pricey to run infrastructure, realistically. So the more users we get using this kind of data, the more sustainable the network is, the more sustainable it gets, the more decentralized, and the more decentralized, well, the more secure. So it's some kind of network effects that the more we can grow, the more we can expand, the better it is for the network. And the other thing, I mean, that's more kind of, we'll have to to support projects like Aave, right? So well, there was also kind of this incentive to be able to provide what Aave needed and to kind of help them building what they need, to go live, basically. So yeah, those are the reasons. Network effects. It's all about this in crypto.
Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. You guys have actually answered quite a few of our kind of preset questions. So what I'm going to do now is kind of throw it to the audience who've been able to ask a few questions on the Pigeonhole Live app. We'll start with the one that has the most votes here. So I guess this really could be answered by either team, but maybe particularly Aave on this one. Is there plans to change the frequency of the calls for the price data? And then how do you determine the appropriate volatility level or the hour daily heartbeat? Could it potentially change over time? So I guess it's really saying, does the frequency of the heartbeat, does it make sense for you now? And could that potentially change over time?
Yeah, we set like back in the days when we kickstarted the collaboration with Chainlink, we kind of looked at I mean, this is not easy matter, you know. Let's start the conversation with this. The reason is that the crypto market is so unpredictable and so volatile, that what you would want ideally would like a price updated every maybe tenth of a second or like, but we all know that this is impossible because of the confirmation times of the Ethereum blockchain. So you cannot even aim to have such a precise solution. And this is because exactly because of the volatility of the whole market in general, and not only of a specific currency. Then, of course, there are currencies that are more volatile than the others. What we did at the beginning of this collaboration with Johann and the other and Thomas, we kind of evaluated the currencies that we wanted to add on an historical, like looking at the historical behavior of the price, which I know is not like the perfect solution, but it's the best I think that we can do right now. And based on the historical behavior of the currency, we actually have a document on our GitHub, which is the currency risk assessment, where I think we added also the heartbeat of the update of the price. And based on the history of the price volatility, we decided like the heartbeat of the specific currencies. And until now, I mean, the good thing is that we don't need that high level of precision in this case, because for now we are not doing any margin trading. You know, the really high precision of the oracle is particularly needed in margin trading, when where you potentially need to liquidate like 4 or 5 times the amount that the user actually deposited. So there is a much higher need of better precision of the oracles. With the heartbeat that we selected right now for the specific currencies, everything we are constantly monitoring the protocol. There are already a few liquidations already a few liquidation happened on the protocol, given the volatility of these last few days, and everything seems to be working as expected. Of course, we will. Like you were saying, Rory, at the beginning, this is an ongoing process. It's not like we integrate and that's it. We talk back in 1 year. We are constantly monitoring the market and how the protocol is behaving. So if the need of like adjustments in this sense would arise, we will of course apply the requested required changes.
Awesome. Thank you guys for answering that one. I guess this goes back to Aave 2, the next highest one. So is Chainlink's Oracle network a complete solution for you as of now? And if so, or if not, what other features, would you like to see added maybe in the future?
Okay, this kind of we were discussing with Johann right before this call that of course like this protocol, it's not kind of the end result of what we are doing. This protocol is the kickstart of what we want to do. And what we want to do, we were discussing, I think probably there is also in the article that that was published on Twitter, that like the future of DeFi is like the connected to like there will be the need for sure in the future to have on a protocol like ours, potentially different synthetic assets that represent maybe different real life assets like houses or oil or gold or whatever, or interblockchain assets like Bitcoin. Actually, we have already WBTC, but still WBTC is not exactly like integrating real Bitcoin. So, but there is EOS, there is Litecoin, there is Monero, there is potentially a whole like wide variety of different assets that are not on the Ethereum blockchain. And for sure, one of the goals of DeFi in general, but our specific, is to bring this market expand this market as much as possible. And the oracles and the price discovery in this case is kind of the most critical aspect if you think about it. And for sure, what we are going to do in the future is expand this collaboration to be able to cover all the potential different assets that we might want to add to our protocol and we want support in the future.
All right, awesome. We just got two more before we wrap up here. So what is the difference between the Aave protocol and ETHLend? I know you touched on that just a little bit, but for people that are maybe familiar with ETHLend, previously, what's kind of, would you say, is the main difference between the two currently?
The main difference that ETHLend is the peer-to-peer completely product. And if you want to make the loan with your friend, it's like completely good. You can simply do that. But if you have like special needs, you have special collateral, you want to, borrow, for example, just $50, but on the market we see only $20 options, then it's very hard to manage and hard to find the match in your case. But on lending pool, every borrower starts borrowing money when he, any depositor starts to earn money when he just deposited on the protocol. It's very good, and we don't need to wait for the match.
Yeah, let's say that ETHLend was kind of the eBay of loans. We use this metaphor at the beginning a lot. Like you could go there, publish your request of a loan, and wait until people was constantly back in the days browsing the offers of the request of loans and decide, okay, I like this interest rate, I like these conditions, I will fund this loan. While the protocol that we have right now is more like I deposit my asset there and I wait until someone will pay me an interest, and that's it. The thing is that it simplifies the experience a lot, because one of the biggest problems that we noticed with the users that we had back in the days is that for them was kind of painful to continuously monitor our marketplace to check if there were loans. Then the borrowers would have, for the borrowers was impossible to get almost instantaneous loans because there was always this kind of time frame between the publishing of the advertisement and the lender actually taking the loan, right?
And also very important point that when the guy coming with his funds, he tell okay, I want to create a loan for the guys with a 5% interest, but it can be not accepted by the market, and he don't know what to set. He can check okay, okay, on Ethereum right now, average is 4, but globally on the market, it will be different. And with Aave, he don't need to choose. It's like
decided by the market.
Yeah.
So let's say that we developed Aave with the idea of streamline the lending process. Okay, so depositors go there and deposit their asset. They get an income. They cannot decide, of course, what to fund like before, but it's way easier because you just go there and you watch your money grow. And borrowers that need liquidity just go there, deposit their collateral, borrow instantaneously. It's way easier. And why we did that is because with the explosion of DeFi, this model, the maker model and the like compound or the platform model kind of killed Ethereum. There was no market for Ethereum anymore because borrowers would just go on compound or open a CDP maker and that's it. So we needed to find a solution that was more competitive. And at the same, but we didn't want to do a copycat of what was already in the market, but we wanted to try to innovate by adding some features that were not in the market, not present in the market when we released.
And also we try to introduce more stability for the borrowers, because all current solutions on the market, they have a variable rate, and some people want to predict a little bit like what they will pay in half of a year, like more or less in the classical world. For sure, like our stable rate is not fixed because in crypto it's not possible to implement right now. But still, if it will be no crazy fluctuation on the market, the borrower can predict that he will pay like what the amount what he should.
All right, perfect. Johann, I'll throw this one to you, but both teams can certainly answer. So Johann, what is the most exciting aspect of DeFi currently for you right now?
Well, I mean, we have it on the on the video here. Like it's all these new projects which are popping up and innovating. I mean, I think the flash loan, when Emilio and Andrey first explained it to me, it made a tremendous amount of sense. And what's really great to see is how we keep seeing improvements to what already exists and we keep scaling, right? And seeing the growth of DeFi, seeing how it's kind of popping up innovatively, but also by volume, that's super exciting for me. Like, it's actually become a hobby of mine to read about DeFi at night and stuff, because like the stuff you discover and the stuff you see that's completely new is quite impressive. And I mean, I think I was saying on the last chat that we keep being surprised by this state. Like whenever, like this space, whenever you think it's going to go somewhere, it goes above, or I mean, sometimes below, but currently I think it will go above. And I'm really looking forward to be surprised and pleasantly surprised, that because I'm already so enthusiastic about DeFi and everything that's popping up. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say into words exactly how we can expect this growth, but seeing innovatively and kind of by liquidity wise, how it's been growing is really exciting for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Aave team, just to give you kind of a last chance to sort of answer that, what kind of excites you about the DeFi space as a builder right now?
I don't know if I am particularly, honestly, I'm particularly fascinated by the possibility of creating like synthetic assets. I'm really fascinated by the UMA protocol, for example, which allows you to create synthetic asset out of everything that you can think about. But in general, I'm really fascinated by the idea of the possibility of bringing everything on Ethereum without actually bringing it. You know, like for example, what synthetics, the synthetics platform is doing, where like you can actually mint whatever derivative token you think about. That can be like, I don't know, synthetic Bitcoin, synthetic Litecoin, synthetic house, synthetic oil, synthetic gold, whatever, without actually bringing the oil or the gold or the Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain. It's just that it allows you to get exposure to that particular asset. And I'm really, really fascinated by this idea. And I think there will be a lot of growth in this next year and in the future on this specific field. But also there is, I mean, it's really hard to predict. The DeFi space is so evolving so quickly and in so different many directions that is almost impossible to keep track of everything new that is being built every day. So let's say that the whole DeFi space is fascinating, actually. It's not one specific idea or one specific protocol or one specific, but the whole space is completely interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and also very cool how it's start going to our life as well, like monolith the product where you can issue the card and pay with this card. It's becoming more and more amazing. It's going to be widely used. I really like it. For me,
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. That kind of wraps up our Q&A today. I want to give a special thank you, obviously, to the Aave team who's here with us today, Johann, who participated as well, and also Isa from Aave, who helped me kind of organize everything and put everything together. We're looking to do more of these in the future. So by all means, please subscribe. I'll have this video kind of edited and up for everybody here in just a little while as well. Or you can simply view the full live stream right now if you want to. So thank you again for joining us, and I'll put all the necessary links in the description so that if you want to learn more about what Aave is doing, Chainlink's doing, or any of this cool stuff that's happening right now, you have the opportunity to do so. So thank you once again, gentlemen, and have a fantastic day.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.